through. So of course, and then when I was going for the 5th chemo, when the doctor came to see me, do you know they didn't find a single lump on my breast?
Oh,
That lump was reduced by chemo through the power of God.
that
They looked.
is 100% response.
I touched, there was nothing. There was nothing. This one you can even call Dr. Catherine Nyongesa, she'll tell you. There was nothing, no trace of a lump, apart from that ugly wound that doctor had cut me like he was cutting I don't know what. There was nothing. And I believe God's healing started that January. That January is when God's might and guys, the power of surrender, the power of having an intimate relationship with God. Take it from me. I have had so many challenges that people ask how I have survived. It has taken the grace and the hand of God. And I thank God I gave my life to Christ. So no matter how hard the enemy tries or brings, because he knows this woman, if I continue letting her depend on God, her generation will show me fire. That is why the enemy is bringing all these things, just to make me stop believing and trusting God. No, we will still continue uplifting his name. I will continue to declare his Lord and only Lord. So finished the 8 sessions of chemo. Now I went again, as I said, thank God to my doctor. My case was taken to Nairobi Hospital tumor board. So I went faced the tumor board. So they asked, so she's done this. There was this mess from this doctor. She's done this. So now we want to discuss and see, is she one of the few patients who will not have to do the mastectomy? So they looked at my scans. They said even after the chemo, the structure of the breast was already damaged. There has been no reverse. So they said, because we don't want to ask ourselves years later, I wish we had removed that breast. Let us just go in and remove the breast. And they told me, and even removing the breast does not mean that the disease cannot come back. So of course I was heartbroken. Of course I cried. Of course I was disappointed, because I knew this positive treatment with chemo, I knew I'll preserve my breast, but it didn't happen. But it is life. They are the doctors. And remember, I prayed, God, you lead. So of course I was set for surgery through the same Mr. Baraza. I remember that night I cried. In fact, when the anesthetist came to fill the form, he was just like, Pauline, will you be able to sleep? Can I give you sleeping pills? I was like, no, I'll sleep. Let me just cry. I'll sleep. So in the morning, because now the surgeon had not confirmed what time I'll go into theater. So I think even he panicked. He thought, this girl, if she doesn't go to theater now, she'll just say she doesn't want that surgery, because the way she's crying, there's a problem. So he kept, and he's one of those doctors, he will tell you nice things, he'll make you feel nice, he'll just be there like he feels you and all. He's very fatherly. So of course I went to theater, they took out the breast, and when I was going to theater, I didn't disclose to my friends, I'm going to remove the breast. I just said they're going to remove the lump. I wasn't ready to talk about it. But the surgery was a success. I came out. Do you know, the moment I came out, I now started talking vocally about it. I don't have one breast. And it didn't matter what people say or what anyone thought. That shift was just the grace of God.
You know what?
Yes.
The Lord gave you wisdom not to talk about it before you went into theater. Because I feel that there could be some of your friends who could have discouraged you. That was wisdom. They could have told you, hey, there are many people who've remained and they're fine. Hey, and friends confused. We have had a lady here whose friends confused her to seek attention in India and spend almost 2 months raising the funds for India. A cancer that was stage 2, I believe. By the time she was in India with the funds, it had gone to stage 4. So friends are good. They mean well, but they don't know. So God gave you wisdom. Go into that fire first, then come out ready to speak. I thank God. I thank God. I thank your God, who is my God. Go on, my sister.
Yeah. So of course, I was talking about it. I was very openly, and even you're right. In regards to friends and in regards to my own husband had a serious. He was like, we should have prayed about it. You are a believer. You see, for him, my faith is here. His faith is up here. I'm like, no, you should not have gone in to cut that breast. We should have just prayed and believed God to work. I was just like, you know what? If you have a problem with no breast, that is you. This is my body. Me, I'm already married. I'm not looking for showing off how nice I look. That is you. Let me deal. I'm the one who has this thing, and I'm looking at long term. So it is fine. God will help us maneuver with this, having a woman with one breast. So take time, go deal with that news and that situation. And when I'm walking on the streets, I'm not walking like, I don't have one breast. No, unless I mention it. Anyway, that was just by the way. So did the surgery, took a month to heal, recover. The healing was very good, very amazing. I didn't have issues. Then I started radio. So I did 6 weeks of radiotherapy. Those were 30 sessions of radio. I loved radio. I wasn't sick. So in fact, that time I told the people who were taking me to hospital, now this one I can handle. So I just told myself, I have to go to hospital Monday to Friday. So I told God, it's not easy. However, I will take it like I'm going to work. You need to psych yourself, people. Your positivity, you need to be positive in everything you're going through. That thing of feeling, it makes your body become so hard. Makes your body so hard to fight. So I just told myself, it's like I'm going to work. So I'll wake up very early. In fact, I didn't even use taxi or matatu. Get into public means, go to hospital, get into Nairobi hospital. Within 30 minutes, I'm out in the morning. By 9:30, 10, I'm back home, relaxing with my son. After all, I'm on leave. I'm not working. I'm not thinking about work. I'm just enjoying leave. Yeah. So, of course, the radio went really well. Actually, I just started burning when I was almost to the close. At the 25th cycle is when I noticed I had developed a wound on the armpit, which is normal with radio. And now the last 5 sessions they did on the scar. So that's why I have a very fine straight line on the scar, just to firm it up. And that was it. So, and because as I mentioned, mine was not a hormonal breast cancer, it was HER2 positive. Maybe you can just Google and all. So I was put on, at that time we were calling it maintenance. I don't know if today you call it
Herceptin.
Yes, I was on Herceptin. So I did 18 sessions of Herceptin. 18. You can imagine 18. It's mild. And that one was mild chemo. So still I go in, do the veins. And I didn't have a chemo pot, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
My veins survived. My veins. This hand. Which hand was this hand? If you look at it, you'll be surprised. You can't even see any pricks or any wounds or any trace. But this is the one hand they kept pricking when they're taking out blood. They kept pricking when I'm doing all those chemo. The 8 chemos plus the 18 chemos. In fact, I knew I had doctors. I'll find to make it fun. So nurses, I'll joke, no, this nurse doesn't know how to prick. They don't know where my veins are. Bring so and so. They are the ones who know where that vein is. So of course, I did Herceptin 80 sessions, and Herceptin is expensive. I remember one session was costing 300,000 Kenya shillings. So do 300,000 Kenyan shillings times 18. And all that God provided through my employer. So that was the journey, and that's how I finished treatment. Of course, after that, I went. That time we didn't have what's the name of this scan? We didn't have it in Kenya. I think Aga Khan was still setting it up. Yes, we didn't have PET scan that time. So I did the usual MRI and CT scan, and I was given a clean bill of health. So go enjoy life. And that was it. That was the end of my treatment journey.
Wow.
Yeah.
You go back for surveillance?
Yes. Of course, we started with 3 months, every 3 months. And then after some time, we moved to every 6 months. But now I do annual. That one is standard. I have to do annual. Yeah.
You see, that is why when I speak to people going for treatment in public hospitals, many of them go there because they can't afford the private. But I tell them, once they've left you, please, many of them don't know about surveillance. I tell them, try and just go back, make an appointment. I tell them, I have come back after 6 months. Can you, send me for a scan? Can you do a blood test to just check if everything is okay? Then just take yourself. There's a professor in Eldoret who was treated in Nairobi, but she wasn't going for surveillance. So I spoke to her. So anytime I go, because our treatment happened at the same time with her. So anytime I go, I have to tell her this is the date I've been given. So that is the same date she calls her doctors and tell them, hey, I need to come in for check. So she's moving with me because they don't surveil and they keep asking her, why do you keep coming back? We told you finished treatment. She said, it is okay. I am paying for it. I just need you to check me if it is okay. So guys, surveillance is important. Look, this testimony is big. This testimony is major. Whenever people ask me here, can someone live and thrive after metastatic cancer? There is one answer that I like giving. The doctors treat, but the Lord heals. But above all, for you to live, for you to thrive, at the end of the day, it is about your relationship with God. It is about where is your faith. Because Christ says very clearly, and Christ rebukes you people of little faith. Christ really wants us to have faith. The Bible says, even as little as a mustard seed, that is enough for God to begin his work. That is enough for God to know that, my child, you trust me, I am now coming in. Because the same God that allows the storm, because he doesn't bring it, but he allows for it to happen. And every time we go back to the story of Job, God did not bring it, but the enemy was roaming and they chat. And he went and put his plea, and the Lord told him, okay, go, I allow you, but don't take his life. And he went and messed up. But Job's faith remained, and he remained focused. And the Bible says his latter days were better than his former days. His latter were better. And Pauline, I'm going to ask you, how is your latter day after cancer compared to the former? I will tell you with confidence, my days right now after 2020 are way better than my days before cancer. Some people may say, this is crazy, but I say the truth. I am more focused. I know my ministry. I know why I was born. I know why I was called by God. And it's like everything for me is clear glass. But before cancer, I was a confused element wanting to do everything. What about you, Pauline?
Yeah. And thank you for that. That's something I wanted to. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's something also I felt it's good we just touch. And also, of course, after you get a cancer diagnosis, you have to be very intentional. Yeah. You have to live like, how would Christ live? How will Christ live? And basically that narrows down to just living in love. And living in love in terms of just understanding. And it's always good to go back. Most of the times, or most of the people, so what I do, I work with few cancer patients. Mine is not in the public, but it's just how the Lord leads. Some are recommendations, and you'll find in a span, maybe I only have like 4 or 5. I've never had a big number. So what it entails is just me praying with you. I pray for you like I'm praying for my child on a daily basis. I encourage you, and I tend to push you more towards God. And the things I've learned over the years, even after my cancer journey, I never used to eat well. I'll still eat how I used to eat. And I think I mentioned about my mom. So my mom was diagnosed with cancer of the pancreas. Mine was breast. But someone will say, I think your family has cancer. No, I don't believe in that nonsense. What I know is how my grandmother used to cook her meals, her food, is the same way she taught my mom. And it's the same way my mom taught me. You see, the way those people who will fill their plates with rice, white rice and ugali, that's how we'll eat. And bread, I loved bread. Me, I'll do 4 slices of bread every day. From being a child, even up to even in my 30s, bread was everything. Bread was breakfast. A layer of Blue Band, a layer of jam, or a layer of peanut. But now I am learning, and let's look for people, even on social media, of sober people who will teach you the importance of diet, because our bodies are able to heal themselves if we eat right. God has given us this vessel. We need to take care of it. We have that responsibility of taking care of it and eating right. Now I'm training myself through the help of God to try to lean more on fruits and vegetables and reduce wheat consumption. And stop, and the reason why I'm so intentional about stopping red meat, it's because my mother had fibroids, and back in 2022 I had an ovarian cyst, a cyst that kept growing after the cancer treatment. And one day it became so big that it almost costed me my ovary. But I later learned anyone prone to cysts and fibroids and PCOSs, those are red meat issues. So try minimize red meat. If you need to eat white meat, do a lot of, I had one of your videos the other day, you were saying this kienyeji chicken. Eat more of the kienyeji chicken, eat fish, eat omena. Those are good. If you must eat meat, reduce it. But for me, I want to take out meat, red meat completely from my diet, and wheat. Wheat, I'm still struggling. Remember, it's how I was brought up, but you need to change. There's nothing to do with where you come from, their diseases. And my grandmother was diabetic. My mother was diabetic for over 30 years. And you see, when you look at diabetes, the last stages of diabetes, you'll find a patient will get cancer of the pancreas. So for me, I'm very intentional in that. And then number 2, there's always a trigger of cancer. For me, my trigger was stress. Take it from me. My cancer diagnosis was a trigger of stress. I suffered rejection from my dad at an early age. So any patient or any person who's gone through that deep pain, you know, that pain that hurts in the heart, that pain, one day, and then it's in, you don't release it, and then you're not forgiving. And people, what I tell people, number 1, know God. Number 2, learn to forgive. Please forgive. Stop carrying people in your heart. I used to carry people in my heart. Please forgive. Release. Forgive, and forgive yourself. Yes, you messed up, but God has given you a chance. Forgive yourself. Number 4, we men, we lose ourselves in marriages, in careers. Learn to love yourself.
You see what somebody has written down there? I'm looking at you and I'm saying, oh my God. Oh my God. You are my story. You are me. You are my story.
And I know so many people who know you. They've sent their greetings.
Oh my God. We will talk on the side. Do you know my relationship with my dad until his death? My book on forgiveness, you're talking about it. It's on Amazon. My dad died when we were not talking.
Those wounds, yes. Those wounds. I tell you people, those wounds, that anger, learn to forgive. My dad, and as much as I forgive him, he has not changed. He's still the same old man, but I've done it for me. And learn to love yourself. Women, let us love ourselves. Let us take care of ourselves. I know we have babies, we have husbands, we have careers, we have businesses. Take time to put yourself first. Take time to learn to spend time with yourself. Take time to acknowledge yourself. Take time to love and appreciate yourself. And anytime an environment is not working, it could be you're in a toxic work environment. I have not said you leave, quit work. No. Go to a place where you are acknowledged, where you are loved, where you are appreciated. So those are the things that worked for me. And another thing, again, to just bring back glory to God. Working with my mom, of course, the diagnosis really broke my heart because in our family, we are just 3. So it's mom, my sister, and I. So I asked God, like statistics shows, I don't know 1 out of how many there's cancer. We are only 3. How can 2 people get cancer? How? In fact, when people were telling us, there's a problem with your family.
I know.
So the work with my mom was so easy because I knew this woman will recover. And again, God really preserved me. I didn't go to Google, or I didn't get a chance to doctors to tell me that cancer of the pancreas is very rough. We have like close to 0 survival rates. I didn't know. So me in my head, I just knew this mama, we will live and will survive. But unfortunately, of course, and she was at my place for when she was doing chemo. She did it so well. Her skin tone didn't turn. She was lighter than me. Her hair didn't fall. She wasn't bedridden as much as she was diabetic. Like the chemo journey was perfect. I'll maneuver between home, work, hospital, home, work, hospital. And God gave me grace to just run through it. And another thing, as Diana has said, look for a hospital that works. Once you have a clear diagnosis that is confirmed from 3 doctors,